All right, hello everybody. This is my first live stream I've ever done. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, so I decided to just go for it. I don't know if anybody's going to come on during this time, but if somebody does, I'd be glad to answer any questions for you guys. So if you have any questions, just put them in the comments or in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer. But I just kind of wanted to hang out and talk about things and share with you guys. So, if you've had any questions, I see one person joined. Now would be the time to ask. In the future, I'm going to make more of these. So if you're watching this after the fact, I might let people know when I am doing a live session. So then you can join in when it starts instead of just being impromptu. So while I'm waiting for people to come in, if they decide to come in, I'm going to just talk about sort of what I've been sort of doing recently. I know I've been making videos recently about sort of what I've been up to, but as I mentioned in my last video, I've kind of been in a transition period. I've kind of been focusing on I see another person join. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just sort of talk about where I'm at right now. So I've been kind of in a transition period where I feel kind of like in limbo. Like I'm not really sure what's going on with me because I feel kind of not lost, but kind of I guess trying to figure out what direction to go in and stuff like that. So I talked with my counselor today, and that was helpful. But I've kind of realized that I've been not giving myself like time and space. Like I haven't been praying, I haven't been meditating, I haven't really been giving space for myself. I've been focused on things outside of me. And I think that's been kind of not causing problems, but just like not being able to connect with something greater than myself has been making me kind of confused and lost. So that's something that I'm probably going to be doing more. I did a little prayer before I came on here, and that was kind of refreshing because I hadn't done that in a while, and it felt really good to do that. And I'm excited that I'm doing a live video because it's something I've been wanting to do for a while. So if one of the two people watching right now has any questions for me, feel free to ask. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know there's a lot of questions about sort of psychosis and sort of my experiences that I've had. And this would be the forum to do that, to talk about specific questions for the future if people are interested in learning more. But otherwise, things have been good in my life. There's a lot of sort of changes, as I mentioned in my last video. So I'm working at a new job and just kind of choosing what direction to go in next, I guess. Hey, another person came in. If you have any questions for me, just let me know in the chat. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have about previous videos, about what is what I'm up to, and pretty much anything. So just let me know. But that's pretty much all I have to share as far as that goes. Trying to think what else I could talk about until people have questions. I think next time I'll actually like advertise that I'll be live streaming instead of just spontaneously live streaming, because I feel like, okay, hey, subscribed a time ago. I think it was from your DMT experience. Have you stopped psychedelics now? Yeah, so I haven't done any psychedelics since then. I smoked pot again after like 4 years, or 4 years after that I started smoking pot again, and that led to my second psychosis. So I've kind of realized that psychedelics and sort of mind altering substances probably aren't the best for me, at least at this point in my life. Maybe later on, it'll be okay. I was diagnosed with bipolar, so I know people with bipolar disorder have a tendency to have sort of psychotic breaks and problems from mind altering substances like psychedelics and cannabis and stuff. But I did try a low dose of mushrooms also during that period between my first psychosis and second psychosis, but it wasn't enough. It was just like 2 grams, and I think they were old mushrooms, so it really didn't have like that much of effect. I just kind of felt like a little bit dreamy, and everything felt a little bit more like flowy, I guess. So yeah, to answer your question, I've stopped psychedelics since that experience. But I don't have anything against psychedelics necessarily. I think that they're really powerful tools that can help a lot of people. But I think that it's important to let people know that there are also risks, of the substances as well, because people who have mental illness or like bipolar disorder or whatever predisposition to altered states without substances, it can result in some psychoses. And if you take too much and it's a bad trip, it can be traumatic for the person if they don't have the proper set and setting. So it's really important to treat these substances with respect and the setting that they need. That's why they're done traditionally in sort of a with a ceremony, because that's sort of what it requires to have a beneficial experience or to get what you need out of it. I mean, everybody's got different goals, but just depends on the person, I guess. So, but my DMT experience was it was a really eye-opening experience. Like I'm glad I had it. I wouldn't have chosen to have that experience like when I did, because I just wasn't ready for something like that. I was pretty unstable in my life to begin with. And something like that was not what I needed at that point in time. Obviously, it led to my first break, but it was amazing experience. I'd never experienced something like that before. Yeah, I hope things are going better for you now. Yeah, things are going better for me now. I wish I was more financially independent. I'm still dependent on my parents um, for sustenance right now, but I'm hoping that will change sometime in the near future. That's pretty much the only thing I would want to change right now. Everything else is pretty much good. I do still take medication for bipolar disorder and stuff, but it's not very much. So um, things are good. So thanks for caring. I appreciate it. But yeah, I think there's other ways to experience those kind of states too. Not as intense. I think as you really go down the spiritual path, you have other intense experiences like psychedelics. Um, I think there's more ways to experience life changing stuff without psychedelics. I think some people think that psychedelics are the only way to heal or the only way to like change your consciousness and stuff, which is not true. There's other ways too. And people have been practicing those for thousands of years, like sweat lodges and meditation and all that stuff. You just kind of have to find what kind of practice fits you. Like some people, psychedelics is the perfect fit, and some people, meditation works for them. Prayer, you kind of have to like build your own little toolkit for healing and for self transformation. And that's something that I'm constantly working on. I was talking earlier about how I've kind of drifted away from spiritual practice. I haven't really been doing any prayer or any meditation or really any shamanism or anything like that recently. No, I haven't done any astral projection. I just don't see I've never really been drawn to it because I don't really see the purpose of it for me. Um, I'll do like I've done shamanic journeys before, which is a little bit different than astral projection. So I'll use a drum, or I'll just like journey into my imagination and like talk to um, basically just like go into your imagination and you like follow your guides or whatever. You find like a helper, and you can get some insight. And if you have questions and stuff, or you're unsure about something, they can give you guidance on stuff. But I've never really felt the need to like astrally project necessarily. Um, I could look more into it though, because I have to see like what the purpose of that is. Um, let me look. Benefits of astral projection. But I try to do things that like are gonna like practically benefit me. So it says this is just like the first result that came up. Greater awareness of reality stimulates personal development, increase your curiosity, expand consciousness, more realistic self-concept, enhance spirituality. Okay. With the risks, becoming lost, protecting yourself. Yeah. Yeah, I know people who've done it before, but it's just never appealed to me necessarily. Do you have an experience with it? No, I don't, but will someday. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you got to find what works for you. You got to find your toolkit, because I know that some people really enjoy doing that, and that's sort of something that they use to help them in their self development. And then other people just it doesn't resonate with them, and maybe it's down the line I'll be astral projecting. Who knows? I have no idea what my life has in store for me, but I'm sure I just always ask spirit. Yeah, purely out of curiosity for these realms. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I just I always just ask that I learn the lessons I need to learn and be shown like what I need to be shown in the moment that I'm in, and then hope that the guidance or whatever wisdom I need to learn just comes to me. Um, Obviously, it doesn't mean I just like lay in bed all day, but um, you know, just like asking. I think setting the intention and like sort of wanting to connect with something, sort of setting that vibration for yourself, sort of attracts that or opens up that window for an opportunity to show up. So if you never like wish for it, or you never sort of um, pray for it, or because prayer is basically like tuning your system. It's like you're praying, you're setting intention, you're being grateful, you're changing your vibration basically. Um, which sometimes I don't like it when people say like vibration and stuff. It sounds so like I don't know. It just sounds kind of silly, but you're just changing your state basically, the way you feel inside yourself. And when you change that, then it feels then you can attract more of that in your life, because you're able to perceive the world from a place of gratitude, or a place of like, this is a possibility in my life, instead of closing that possibility off and not being able to see it because you have your blinders over here. So prayer opens that up. But I do believe that there's greater forces at work, and we're more than just our physical body. So when we tune in with something that we want in our life, it sort of allows things to flow to you as well. Because I think that there's more going on than just what we can see with our eyes. Because I mean, that's proven with science that there's more going on than what we can physically perceive. Um, so to think that everything we experience physically is the only thing that's happening, I think is pretty ignorant to assume that that's the only reality there is. I mean, bees can see in ultraviolet. You know, there's there's so many different ways of perceiving and engaging in the world. To think that we can understand it and perceive it all is very short-sighted, I think. But plus, there's a lot of I've done a lot of research on different things, and I think everybody needs to develop their own spirituality and their own sort of um, their own medicine, essentially. But I've done a lot of research on near-death experiences, and I've read a lot of trip reports and stuff like that because I was obviously interested in psychedelics, and I wanted to do the research before actually doing a trip, because you don't want to just go into something like that just blindsided and not know what's going to happen. So I knew a lot about psychedelics before I actually did them, and so I learned a lot about spirituality and a lot about different realms and different platforms and stuff. And I also have friends who are psychics, and I think everybody can be a psychic. It's just training, but one's a psychic medium, so she communicates with spirit guides, and a lot of what she said has really resonated with me. And I'm pretty like, I don't jump on board with stuff unless like I feel like it makes sense with everything. And a lot of what she said sort of makes sense with what nature shows us and what what we've discovered in this realm. At least it's sort of congruent with what I've learned. Um, and she basically just talks about um, that we're more than just our physical bodies, obviously, and we've had multiple experiences because we're basically an essence that can experience things, and it flows in and out of experiences. And time is just like the spectrum on which we can experience those things. But we go back to a similar source, sort of like water. We all go back to the ocean, and then eventually, like, we're evaporated again. We go back onto the land, and it turns into another experience. But it's not like it's like one separate experience. Like, the water is still the water. It's still the same molecule throughout the whole thing, but the place in which it's in is different. So it experiences different things over time. But I don't think there's like a division of like, oh, it's like life and then death. It's like, this is life and death at the same time right now. We're having an experience, but we're still going to have an experience when this physical body dies as well. And so that's sort of some of the things that she talks about, um, among like many, many other things as well. But it's interesting stuff. But I think at the end of the day, we're all just humans having an experience, but well, not all humans. There's other animals having experiences. The rocks are experiences, the trees are having experiences. Everything's having an experience. The whole cosmos is an experience that is alive. Everything is alive, and that's common among most shamanistic traditions. Is animism, that everything's alive, and that's common in a lot of mystic. Well, I don't know. I don't want to speak for other traditions, but usually there's an understanding that everything is alive at the higher states of consciousness. When people come back from near-death experiences, or when they have an experience on a psychedelic, they come back and they're like, "Hey, this was alive. Like, the rock was alive. The tree was talking to me." It's because like those entities are real. Those entities have a consciousness. It's just we see them as a physical entity in this realm, but they have, just like we just have a physical. We have a physical body. We have other sort of parts of ourselves. So does the rock. So does the tree. There's more to the tree and to the rock than just the physicality of the tree and the rock, and it's a presence. And so, um, that's alive. And yeah, we're all kind of connected in this whole sort of system, and it's interesting. It's hard. It's challenging. It makes us learn things. We make mistakes. We hurt people. We get hurt, and sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's great. Yes, and it's very similar. I've read hundreds of near-death trip reports. I try to I believe that reality is subjective, not objective. Yeah, I mean, all of our realities are subjective because I can only perceive the world from my lens, my perspective. Um, I think, yeah, because everything is being created and we are creating at the same time. So I think it's hard to sort of, there's nothing that is objective, because even if you say like, oh, I'm going to objectively tell you these things, it's still like subjectively you're saying this is what I've perceived. This is like objectively what I've perceived, but it's still your perception of what happened. And it, you can't basically get rid of the part that is interpreting the information. So I would say the whole universe is probably subjective, because I think it's from a creative force. And so it's all just co-creating with each other. That would be my guess. But from a practical level, I think that there's also things that we can agree on that are objective. So I can objectively say that this bottle is on my desk. And if you were here, you would objectively say, yes, that bottle is on the desk. But if we, went into a different state of consciousness and we both looked at it, we might have differing opinions, or we might have a different perception because we might be in two different places. And so at that point, we wouldn't have the same sort of system to view it from. So it may not be an objective truth anymore. But if we're in the same consensus reality, if we're in the same sort of way of viewing the world, like at the same state of consciousness, then we can both say like, this is on my desk, I guess that's my opinion. Because if we didn't have like a structure where we could all agree on like, this is what's happening and this is what's happening, then the world would just be very like difficult place to be in. It's already difficult enough. Having all those extra moving parts would be like kind of unbearable. That's why people don't just walk around tripping all the time. I think there's a reason that we have our certain state of consciousness here. And I mean, there are people who disassociate, people who have psychosis or people who are schizophrenic. And that's a very problematic thing to have when you can't function in the world, when you're, lost in sort of a different reality. It's kind of difficult to function. So, but thanks for asking this question, Jacob. I don't know if you're still in the chat, but yeah, if anybody else is watching has any questions for me, just let me know. Be happy to answer any questions or just share some thoughts or whatever. Just let me know. And I appreciate you subscribing, Jacob. I think what I'm getting at is a lot of attraction. We can experience entirely different realities if we alter our vibration enough, and we can experience a different collective consciousness. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, if we alter our vibration enough, we can experience different realities for sure. And yeah, you're gonna experience a different collective of conscious because like you're going, as you go higher into different states, or you go into different states of consciousness, you're tapping into the information and the knowledge from those different states. So if you're taking mushrooms, you're sort of what mushrooms does is it basically changes your vibration. It changes your experience of reality. And so you tap into something where you have access to different knowledge, different perceptions, different all different kinds of stuff, and you're tuned into something different, and you're gonna see different realities, like you said. And so we're not going to be on the same consensus reality anymore. If somebody's on mushrooms, another person's not on mushrooms, one person's going to be like, the guy in consensus reality is going to be like, yeah, this is on the table. The other guy is going to be like, no, it's not. There isn't a table, or something like that, and who's to say which one's right or which one's wrong? Because one, he's viewing it from his perception. The other guy's viewing it from his perceptions. Who's to say what's right or wrong? Because what he's seeing is real to him, And it's not to discredit that experience, because there's probably some truth to that as well. I think my teacher always says all truths are half truths, because we can't see the whole equation, you know, like there's only, you can never have a full truth, because the universe is like massive, you know, and it's, I don't think there's necessarily anything that is like completely right. I don't think we can have anything in the human language that can be 100% true. It's only a half truth. Yeah. But yeah, the law of attraction is definitely, to me, it's just kind of common sense. It's like, if you start to be happy, if you like raise your vibration, you're going to attract more happy people. If you allow yourself to feel like you deserve to have an income, you're probably going to be more likely to find a place that will give you more of an income. You know, um, it just seems like common sense to me. People think it's like a big secret. It's not really. I mean, if you're really like depressed and like don't want help and things like that, like you're probably going to hang out with people who are the same way, or like people who enable you to be that way. But if you're like, you know what, like I'm depressed but I need help and I want to be better, and like let's put some work in to make it happen, then you're probably going to find people who will help you do that, because that's what you're looking for. So like what you want in your life is sort of what you create. What you sort of desire and what you focus on is what happens, because it's just like when you're driving a car, you know, if you if if something like drives or walks in front of you in the road, if you focus on the target that, or you focus on the thing that's walking in front of you, you'll probably run into it. But if you focus on the hole or the side of the road that doesn't have whatever walked in front of you, you're probably going to be able to dodge it better than if you focus on the person that's walking in front of you. It's the same with consciousness. It's the same with your thoughts and perceptions, you know. I'm not saying that it's easy. It's not, you know. I'm still trying to figure out things for myself, but it definitely makes a difference when you can actually focus on what you want instead of focusing on what you don't want, because then that just attracts more of it. And I'm saying these things, but like I'm also saying it for myself, because like obviously I haven't mastered all this stuff. These are just things that um, I'm just kind of rambling, you know, I'm just talking about stuff, but um, yeah, I'm far from perfect, and I'm still learning how to attract what I need in my life. But I'm pretty content with what I have right now, and I'm really grateful for what I do have. All right, hey Evan, how's it going? Much love always. You said in your last video that you've been doing less spiritual practices. Which are you gonna? Are there any that you've kept going? No, I actually like kind of stopped doing spiritual practices just because I was focusing on other things. But before this video, I did kind of a prayer, and it was really nice to reconnect with that space and to sort of develop that connection again, because it's something I'd been neglecting, and I've realized that I've been kind of not neglecting myself, but I kind of just been focusing on other things and not necessarily focusing on connecting with something greater than myself. I've been kind of focusing on just my life, but it's something that I spoke with my counselor today, and it made me realize that it's something that I need to have in my life, because it's it brings so much more spaciousness into my life when I actually have those practices, instead of getting stuck on things and kind of getting stuck on a loop of the same cycle over and over again. When I have a spiritual practice, or when I have something that sort of helps me to break out of it, or at least be aware of it, then I'm more able to acknowledge what's happening and then move forward from there. So that's something I'm going to bring back, and I'm going to go. I have plans to hang out with my shaman teacher on Thursday, so that'll be nice to do. I haven't hung out with him in a while because of quarantine. So I've kind of been just retreating, I guess, recharging in some ways, planning how to move forward again, just because quarantine has kind of kept us pent up, and we get stuck on our heads. Yeah, spaciousness is really nice. Yeah. Yeah, we do have different domains. We got like different gears, you know. And sometimes we just want to stay neutral, and then sometimes it's like, all right, we got to move forward. Let's go into first gear. And sometimes we're on the highway. We're like on sixth gear, and it's like, holy mackerel, this is like everything's going really fast. So, but it's all normal. I think it's just part of development. Sometimes we're really focused on a certain part of our life, and then other times we're not. And I've had a lot of new things come into my life. Um, yeah, the energy is very concentrated right now. There's a lot of anxiety. Like, I definitely believe that there's sort of like a mass consciousness, and like we all kind of share a similar space, like all the plants, animals, the earth itself, and stuff. But I think different specific species of animals probably have a more connected, mass consciousness than others. So like humans obviously probably like resonate most with other humans, and so there's a lot of fear and anxiety and like all this pressure and stuff like that. And if anybody is like sensitive to that or picks up on that, that shows up for everybody too. To some degree, they may not be consciously aware of it, but I think it has an impact, and it shows. Like, it's not like a ghost, like if you turn on the TV, like it's impacting everybody. Everybody's affected. Like, people talk about it. Like, I bet there's not a single day that goes by that people aren't talking about coronavirus. Like, I bet you can't go through it one day unless you live by yourself. You can't go through one day without somebody mentioning coronavirus. So it's definitely impacting people on a physical level, but also, on emotional, spiritual level as well. I would assume as well. So I think it's been hard for everybody in some way, shape, or form. It impacts everybody differently, but yeah. Okay. Thanks, Jacob. I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for asking those questions. Have a good night. Get some rest. Yeah, the energetic pulls up and pulls down. Our heart are stronger. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for that. I think it's definitely because of the consciousness that's going on right now on the planet with like the coronavirus and stuff like that. And then also the fact of isolation, the fact of just being, um, like kind of stranded on an island to some degree. It's a lot of pulls up and pulls down, like you said. It's gonna be challenging. So I know it's been hard for me to some degree. Yeah, definitely, it's definitely been hard for me. I've been sort of figuring things out, and I've had a lot of new things in my life. Like, I've got a girlfriend now, which is a new sort of element in my life, and that posed its own challenges. That was difficult for me. Um, it's posing new challenges because I've never had a relationship like this before. Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's a crazy time. I'm not sure where we're headed either. I don't know. It doesn't look good, honestly. Like, I don't want to put that out there, but like it looks scary. Yeah, new challenges and new spaces. Yeah. Yeah, I'll finish my what I was saying about my girlfriend. I normally, like, I had relationships in the past, and they're all right. My last one before this was not great. That was 3 years ago. There's a reason I took 3 years off. Um, and it was always like kind of pleasure seeking, and so this is about like a relationship, a partnership. So that poses its challenges, because like it's something I've never done before. Not that it's hard, like it feels a lot better. It feels more natural, but I have to learn the ins and outs of that a little bit, because it's like a new domain for me. But it's starting to feel more normal, and it's starting to feel like, oh, this is what like a relationship is like. It's not about like the crazy highs and crazy lows and like just a hot mess. It's like consistency, stability, communication. Like it's nice, but it took me a little while to figure out sort of what that's like. um, but yeah, I don't know where we're headed for coronavirus and stuff like that. Coronavirus, I mean, the economy is going to tank, obviously. Like it's going to take a huge hit, and I'm concerned about that. How's that going to impact? Like I have a job right now, but I know it's going to impact a lot of people, and I'm fortunate to have a family that if things hit the fan, like they would support me. But my goal is to like get financially independent, and if it doesn't work out, how got to figure out how to do that. And I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat. I know you're in college, right, Evan? I'm pretty sure. So you're probably like, what is going to happen? Probably like trying to figure out what you want to do and stuff. Hopefully it turns out okay. But it's definitely concerning. A lot of stress and fear out there right now, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I can understand that. A beautiful, terrifying mess at the moment. That's funny. Yeah. Some parts of it are beautiful. Some parts of it are terrifying. And some parts of it are a mess. So I agree, Evan. It's really beautiful though, because a lot of people are like being very loving and supporting, and like a lot of love is coming out of this, a lot of support and stuff. But I just hope that I just have a feeling that the people that really need the help are probably not going to get it. Like a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people are going to um, kind of, oh, hey, what's up, Mina? How's it going? But yeah, a lot of people might lose their jobs, and yeah, it's gonna be stressful. Like lower income people, I think it's gonna be really hard on them, and I don't know if they're gonna get the support they need to get back on their feet, because a lot of um, people in the lower income demographics, like they're barely scraping by to begin with, and then this comes through, and it might really just destroy their savings or whatever savings they had, and it just gets it can be pretty difficult. So I'm going to be sending out prayers, wishing everybody the best and hoping that people will find their way through this and be able to recover, if they need to, um, if that's what they need. But yeah, if anybody watching, if you guys have any questions for me, or just have a random question, um, just feel free to ask. This is not like a super formal setting, so just let me know. I want to do more of these because I know a lot of people have questions, and I didn't like publicly announce um, this live stream, so I'll probably announce them in the future so then people can actually come on. Yeah, yeah, my heart breaks through the pain, fear, and difficult situations. On another level, we totally have to keep love on the max. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I hope that's one of the lessons we get out of this coronavirus thing, is that we need to come together and we need to support each other, and that like people that need help, you know, we need to be thinking about the people who are maybe like in this case more at risk, like whether they're elderly or whether financially at risk, or physically at risk from like, people who are older or have, diabetes and stuff like that. Just realizing that there's people out there that we love, that we care about and stuff that we need to be taken care of. And, maybe, we'll get some healthcare eventually in this country. That would be great. This country being the US, I would love if we had socialized healthcare. I know that's not like an American thing, but I think that's something that like is a basic bottom threshold that like everybody should be able to get healthcare. That's just like, I'm just like baffled that we haven't like come up with that yet. Like, it's just like, it disgusts me that basically it's just ridiculous. And I understand like public healthcare is not necessarily the fastest because there's lines and stuff like that to get to doctors, but I would rather have people be able to get healthcare and have to wait. And if somebody really wants to get in fast, like you can get private insurance, you can go to a private provider if you want to pay for it. You can still have a private system and a public system, but I think that there should be a public system for health, and like something like this, I don't know if it's going to shake things up enough to make people realize that it's something that everybody should have. But my hope would be that, in the future that that's something that gets implemented. That's like the basic level of what like I would wish for our country. I'd wish for a lot more than that, but I don't think we're there yet, but hopefully that's something that is coming in the future. Yeah, I agree, Mina. Yeah, we shouldn't have to make decisions about whether to get medical care based on money. Yeah, it just, there should be a birthright to be able to have healthcare. Because, like, for example, like I was born, like my family has bipolar in the family, so I have to pay for medication. What if I was not able to afford medication? Because then I have like, I go manic, I get depressed and stuff like that. I'm not able to function in society. I can't work at my job. Maybe I have to file for disability. Then I'm a liability. Then I'm basically dependent. Well, if I was on disability, then I would get my medication paid for. But it just seems broken to me. Like it's not my fault I have bipolar disorder. That's like something that I inherited. And it just doesn't seem right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Evan's on the same page. Yeah, not gonna get started on how I feel with the government, but people not having healthcare, even food, is ridiculous. Yeah, yeah. Food is another thing. Like grocery stores just throw away food and they don't give it to like people who need it. To me, it's just. Ugh. This world could be so much better. Like I feel like this world could be so much better. I understand it's not easy. Like there's a reason it is the way it is. If it was super easy, it wouldn't be that. It would be different. There's obviously barriers to get there, but it starts with a vision. And I hope that like our generation has a vision for a better world. And I hope that Mina and Evan, you guys are both younger. You guys are both like my age. I'm 26. I know Mina's, I forget how old. Mina's a little bit younger than me, and Evan, you're probably younger than me because you're in college. But I hope that like the younger generation is really looking to improve our world and to like understand that we live in a community, and it really 24/18. Yeah. It baffles me. It really baffles me that like people don't realize, like billionaires and millionaires, they're like, yeah, I earned all this money myself. I worked so hard to get all this money and I like earned it myself. But what they don't realize is like there were people below them that they were dependent on. They basically earned their money from people below them working their asses off, essentially, like because at some level, no matter what industry you're in, there's a minimum wage worker there working, doing the work. And so every company is based off of a minimum wage worker doing the work to build up the whole thing. And eventually it gets to the top, and then the millionaire's like, yeah, I worked so hard. It's like, no, yeah, you worked hard, but so did all the other people, and they're getting paid not very much. And the problem is with the system is when the millionaire makes all the money, he's like, I get all this. And yes, we do have taxes, but it doesn't really get redistributed very well to the lower income people who basically, built the whole company, to some degree. Yes, there was leadership, there was vision involved with the CEO and stuff like that. It takes a lot of work to do that. But at the same time, like, we want to have a country that's like healthy, and we want people to, like, I personally, I don't know who I'm talking about with we, but I personally want people to be able to live like comfortable lives and feel like they can support a family and feel like, they're not like worrying about having like food on their table. And so it makes me sad when people think that they live in an independent world, like an independent system. They're not dependent on the rest of the system or the rest of the people. They think that they're separate from the homeless person walking on the street, or they think they're separate from lower income people who are working, minimum wage jobs or 2 or 3 jobs. They're like, oh, well, they're not working hard enough, or they didn't like save correctly, which education on money management is something that should be taught in public schools. That's something they teach us, like history and math and like reading and stuff like that. Those are great. But like, they don't teach us about how to manage our emotions, how to communicate, how to manage money. Those are things that we're going to use no matter what field you go into, no matter like what job you go into. And those are things that they don't teach. Like, that's something that we should be teaching in schools. It's to prepare us for the workforce, to prepare us for the world. If we don't know how to communicate effectively, we don't know how to manage our space correctly, like manage our emotions, our thoughts, our perceptions. If we don't know how to, manage our finances, then like life's going to be pretty hard, and they don't teach us how to do that. Our society doesn't teach us how to do that. And I hope in the future that they do teach us how to do that. Also nutrition, how to take care of ourselves nutritionally. Those are all things that like aren't addressed at all almost. There's maybe a health class in middle school. There's a health class for me in middle school. I watched, they're like, eat fruits and vegetables. It's like, okay, cool. There's nothing there to support. I don't understand. Like, we need a new vision. We need like the young minds. We need to create something different, like it needs to be a different system. And it's got to change from the inside. It's not the government that's going to do it. It's the people. The people is an outreach of the government. We elect the candidates, and the candidates make the policies. But people have to realize that they're in power. They're in control. You go back and forth, been living in the woods the rest of your life and doing my best to save the world with all amazing people I know on this planet. Yeah. The thing is, if you go in the woods, you're still part of the system. That's the funny part, because by choosing to be separated from the system, you've chosen to basically ignore the issues, and to like leave the fight, which it sounds like you were implying that you just like give up because like it's just too annoying or whatever. But yeah, I think no matter where you go, even if you're a hermit in the mountains, you're contributing to the problem or not, or making a difference in the world. But I do think that people who meditate and stuff like that have an impact on a vibrational level too. So like, if you, because of the mass consciousness thing, like I think no matter where you are, you still have an effect on the vibration of the whole planet. So I think a lot of it's just like living your truth. Yeah, it's definitely overwhelming sometimes. It's very frustrating. That's where like meditation is important, to just like be like, everything is fine as it is. And it's like, okay, good. Everything is fine as it is. Yeah, it's a balance. Exactly. It's accepting what is, and then realizing there's certain things that need to be done, and then taking action where we feel like is necessary, or where it's appropriate. We can change the whole world by ourselves, but we can't tackle everything at once. And so it's got to start like I recycle, but I can't like do all of the things. I'm sure there's so many more things I could be doing to like make my house more efficient and to like be more um, ecologically sustainable, or environmentally sustainable. But I can only do so much because I have work. I have things to do. Um, Any advice on working social skills during recovery of a psychotic episodes? I think I'm experiencing thought blocking. I apologize. It's off topic. No, it's not off topic. That's why I did a live stream, because I know people have questions, and I don't necessarily make videos that address them. So, social skills. So did you like recently have, so recovery of a psychotic break? So it was recently then. What do you mean thought blocking? Like you just can't, you don't have thoughts, like you have a hard time like thinking through things and like sharing that? Because like when I was recovering from my first psychosis 1.5 years ago, okay. Yeah, it took me a while to reintegrate socially. I kind of had to relearn how to interact socially with people. So it took me a while to sort of adapt, and I was really depressed. Like after the sort of manic part of it, or like the high part of it, which you're probably familiar with, kind of faded away, I went into like a very deep depression, and I felt very vulnerable and susceptible to like people. I felt like people's energy, and I didn't want to like engage with them. Yeah, original thoughts to stay in conversation. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like you kind of have to relearn how to conversate and how to engage with people. All right. Well, it looks like everybody has left for now, so I'm going to wrap up this live stream. I hope that whoever joined in liked whatever I talked about. And oh, you're still here. Okay. Oh, 3 people came. Okay. I thought everybody left. Oh, the video kind of stopped. Yeah, it looked like it because you guys all disappeared and then came back. Where did I? Okay. Where did you hear me last talking about something? What was the last thing I said? Oh, really? Well, I'll just start from the beginning then. But basically, it was really hard for me to socialize right off the bat with psychosis. It took me a long time, and I had to I had to relearn how to conversate. So I basically only interacted with my parents for like the first year for the most part. Like I went to school to finish up my classes because I had my psychosis like in the middle of the semester. So I had to finish my classes. And so I interacted with the teachers and stuff, but it was very like very, very basic interactions. And I didn't feel comfortable being around people that I didn't know because I felt very vulnerable. And so I had to practice. And I was kind of socially awkward before the psychosis, but then after the psychosis, it was like having to relearn how to talk to people and how to like be around people and not feeling vulnerable, or like I don't know, it was difficult, and I still deal with a little bit of social anxiety, but it's not something that's on my primary focus anymore. It used to consume a lot of my thoughts, but now it's just like, oh, I'm anxious in the situation. That's normal, like it's like an interview. So like who doesn't get nervous for an interview or something like that? So it does get better. It just takes time. And be gentle with yourself, because like it is normal to feel like it's hard to conversate after a psychosis because you have to relearn everything. You have to realize like your software has been completely rebooted. Like when you go through psychosis, you have to completely reconfigure everything. And so if you could like immediately go back into conversating, then like I'm not saying that you didn't have a psychosis, but like it would be weird. It would like some people can, I guess, but like I feel like more likely than not, people who go through something like that have a hard time coming back from it, like socially. So just be patient with yourself, and you know, just know that you're not alone. Like I went through the same thing too, and it's going to take a while. You know, I made a video saying it took me 4 years to recover from my first psychosis. It took me a long time, um, and I hope it takes less time for you. But it's definitely not an easy process. So just be patient, and you know, just talk about things that you're interested in. You know, just like if you like gardening, just talk about gardening. Be like, I like to plant plants, and you know that's original. You can talk about the things that you enjoy. Just kind of share yourself, and if you're not really sure what to do in the conversation and you feel like you don't really have anything to say, then you can be like, hey, like I don't really know what to say, you know, and maybe it's awkward, but at least you're participating, you're sharing. You know, there's nothing really to lose with conversing. Maybe they'll be like, "Oh, that person's weird." It's like, okay, whatever. You know, if they're gonna judge you based on the way like you respond to something, then like they're probably not gonna be, um, you know, it's probably not somebody that you're gonna be hanging out with a lot. You know, so I don't know if that's helpful, but just know you're not alone. Like it was hard for me too. So I'm kind of blessed in the fact that, yeah, of course, yeah, that's I'm glad to help in any way I can. I'm kind of blessed because like I school isn't too difficult for me, so I can kind of get the schoolwork done pretty easily. So school wasn't too bad for me, and I had a pretty intense high school for me. It was pretty hard. It was a boarding school, and so the academic rigor was pretty intense. So college wasn't that hard because I went to a public university. Um, and so I was able to get through college on time. But I basically went to a branch college for the first 2 or 3 years where I was living with my parents, and I would just go to it was basically a community college, and I would go to the college and then do the work there. And then come back home, like just commute back and forth. So I had the security of being at my parents' house, and being able to do the work from there was nice. So I didn't actually move out from my parents' house until my senior year of college, even though I'd lived away from my parents during boarding school. So I needed that home base to be able to feel secure and to be able to make it through college. I don't think I could have made it through college if I was away from home, just because I was in a fragile state of my life. Um, and so it's definitely possible to do university for sure. Like, you know, you can do it. Just make sure, hey, Josephine, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, just make sure you have your home base. Make sure you feel like you feel secure and you have a place that you feel safe. And make sure to take care of yourself. Like, make sure to have time. Don't overload your classes. Like, if you need to take fewer classes to feel comfortable, because the last thing you want to do when you're recovering from psychosis is to feel stressed. Don't like overload yourself, you know, like that's something that was my priority, was like making sure that I was okay and that I had support, you know. So that's why I stayed with my family for that long. So I think you can still go to university, you know, like just because you had a psychosis doesn't mean you can't do things with your life. You know, you can live a perfectly successful life even though you've had a psychosis. It's just making sure that you know, do that self-care and make sure you're taking care of what you need to take care of, you know. So does that help? And Josephine, let me know if you have any questions about anything. Just hanging out, you know, waiting for people to ask me questions, or I'll just like ramble about stuff otherwise. But we were just talking about psychosis, and sort of the recovery process from it. So it's not an easy thing to go through. I would say for me, the psychosis, thoughts on Reiki, yoga, and overall spirituality. Yeah, I mean, Reiki, yoga, those are all great. You have to find what works for you. Okay, yeah. So I've been trained in Reiki. I've done some yoga, and obviously I've studied spirituality. I think they're great tools. I think they're very helpful to like gain perspective on things, um, and to help just understand how to manage your life a little bit better. My one caution that I would say is it can be a rabbit hole. Um, so with psychosis, the main focus should be grounding, or it shouldn't. It's not that it should be, but my main focus after psychosis was to stay grounded. So just make sure that you're um, taking care of yourself and that you're not kind of getting caught up in like the whirlwind or like the conspiracy theory kind of stuff that sometimes spirituality people can get into, um, because that can be, I've been down the rabbit hole with psychosis, so I try to stay away from rabbit holes that don't necessarily lead to practical living. But yoga obviously is great for you. Reiki can be really helpful. I definitely believe that there's more than just our physical body. So taking care of ourselves from more than just a physical level, but also like an energetic level can be really helpful. It's a lot of visualization and like understanding how to let go of things and stuff. It's a very useful tool. And then spirituality is just, connecting with something greater than ourselves, that we don't just live in like a physical world, but we live in a multi-dimensional existence, multi-dimensional reality. I studied anthropology um, in college. I'm going to focus on recovering at first. Yeah, definitely focus on your recovery. When you feel like you can take on more, then maybe consider, if that's like your next step, then you could be like, hey, I'm feeling a little bit better, and then you could go for it or whatever. But my first thing to do was to focus on me. But I was in school, so I just kind of continued with it. But I mostly stayed at home. It gave me something to focus on, so I wasn't just always focused on like my depression or like, my psychosis, lingering symptoms and stuff. But yeah, spirituality, it's like it's just connection to everything, just understanding that we're not like one individual, we're connected to a greater system that's also alive, and stuff like that. I mean, everybody's got a different spirituality. That's just my spirituality. I think that we're part of a big whole, and that we're not separate from anything, and that animals have spirits, the rocks have spirits, the trees have spirits, all the plants and all that stuff. Like nothing is dead in this universe, and that we're a part of everything, and that everything is one continuous experience. When we die, we're still experiencing something too. There's not really like a separation between life and death, in my opinion. I think it's just for this essence. I talked about this earlier in the video, but it's like a water molecule that goes through the river, goes back to the ocean. When we die, like we go back to the ocean, so to speak. But eventually, we get evaporated again and go back to the mountains or whatever, or a different place in the world. But we're still that molecule. We're still a water molecule, the H2O. Even if you've evaporated, you're still H2O. You're just in a different state, and you come back. So my next step is, have you started social media marketing? Yeah, definitely interested in learning Reiki. So do you have? Yeah, I know about the YouTuber Aaron Dottie. Yeah, I've watched some of his videos. I'm not like super into his videos because he tends to be like very I don't know, he's a little bit like too new agey for me. I try to like keep everything like kind of chill, and not like um star seeds and all that stuff. Like I know what star seeds are, and I don't know. I try not to go like down rabbit holes. I try to just talk about like what I feel like is helpful for people, and maybe star seeds are helpful for people, and light worker stuff and everything. But I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I just try to keep everything like just kind of chill and real, because I've been there's so much stuff out there that people say like, oh, I'm a star seed, or like I'm from this different like galaxy. And I'm like, okay, like so what? Like, how is that going to change anything? Like, does that mean like you pee yellow or well, yeah, everybody pees yellow. Does that mean like you pee like green or something? Like, I don't. How is that practical in your life? You know, like why does it matter? Like, I don't know. Like, I've had experiences where like I met somebody and it's possible we had a past life together. Like I had an intense experience with that, and I had like an experience with the past life thing in DMT. But like I don't know. Like I met somebody too, like a random stranger, and like she recognized me, and I recognized her, but I'd never like seen her before. She's very tall. I think I would remember a tall person like that. Um, yeah, he talks about star seeds and stuff sometimes. Um, but yeah, I mean, I believe in past lives. I think that we're in essence, like I said, and we've had multiple existences. Like to me, that's just common. But to me, that feels like it feels right to me, because if you look at nature, everything gets recycled and reused. I use the water example, but I don't think there's anything that nothing can be created or destroyed. In the universe, that's something that's the law of conservation. In science. And so I don't think it would be this. I don't think it would be the different for our essence, or for part of us that is observing, experiencing this life. These experiences, these thoughts, these perceptions, they must go somewhere. They don't just disappear and die. That's my opinion. Because nothing can be destroyed in our physical universe. So why would it be different in any other dimension or any other kind of universe? It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, Aaron Doherty, he talks a lot about a lot of different things. I don't know what he likes to do, but for me it's a little bit too much down the rabbit hole for me. I try to just keep things simple as much as I can. But Reiki's good, but just know that it attracts people that are kind of down the rabbit hole too. So just be careful with that. But it's a good tool to learn. Energy work is a good thing to learn. Yeah, he talks about conspiracy theories too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of those either. I'm just like, how is that going to help me make my breakfast tomorrow? Probably not going to help me. I just want people to the stuff I say, I just want it to help them in their life. Hi, Jeezy. How's it going? Um, yeah, when I talk about things, I want it to be practical and helpful in their life. I don't want to basically make them want more information and oh my god, that's so fascinating and interesting. It's like what can I maybe I'm a star seed, maybe I'm special and stuff. It's just nah. I mean, everybody's special. Everybody's got gifts and blessings and stuff that they have, and um, I'm just not into that. And the conspiracy theory stuff, they're conspiracies. I don't know. Yeah, I've thought about monetizing the channel. I just feel weird asking people for money, and I'm only at 500 subscribers, and I don't know. I feel like it'll happen naturally. Like maybe when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll just slap ads on my channel, but I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Because I thought I have a Patreon account, but I don't really feel comfortable asking for money. Um, I guess it's people volunteering to give me money, but I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I might make a video. Yeah, that's the thing. Patreon would be just if people want to support me, if they believe in what I'm making and stuff like that, they would just donate money to me basically, which feels really weird for me to do that. So um, once you get 1,000 subscribers, you can just put AdSense on there, and so that it just puts ads on the videos, so they're 5 seconds long or something. But I don't know. I do this mostly just because I enjoy doing it. It's fun for me, and I like sharing with people. Um, and I think not a lot of people have shared their experience with psychosis on this platform, and it felt like something I should probably do, but also just to document my life, and it's an outlet for me. And I like, just sharing the love, channel direction. I have no idea. I mean, the channel direction is just me, me and my life. Like whatever comes in my life, whatever I'm learning, um, whatever I'm struggling with. Um, I don't necessarily have a specific plan for the direction other than just like me sharing me. That's all I can do. I don't have like a vision necessarily. Maybe I should, I don't know, but that's where I'm at right now. Whenever I feel like making a video about something, I'll just make a video and post it. I've got a video right now that I have to post, but I'll probably wait a little bit because this will be my next video. That'll be on my channel. So I like I don't know if you guys know Dakota of Earth, but he's a channel I follow, and I really like his sort of way of sharing. It's very casual, and he just kind of shares his life, and he goes on trips and stuff. He does a lot of psychedelics and things. Check him out. Check out Hiding in My Room. His whole channel is just him sharing his life. Yeah, I'll check him out. Yeah, I'll check him out. Do you work outside of YouTube? Yeah, yeah. I don't make any money on YouTube. I just want to be clear with that. Like, I don't make anything. I do this just because I think it's fun. I work at Home Depot. I used to work in a museum, but because of quarantine, I lost my job. They laid off 80% of the people, and I was just a part timer. Um, and so I work at Home Depot. That's sort of where some of my income goes, but I'm also dependent on my parents right now to support me. Um, I haven't really felt comfortable working a full time job yet because of what I've gone through with psychosis and bipolar disorder and stuff like that. I'm kind of hesitant to like really put that pressure on myself to support myself fully. So they're willing to help me out in the meantime. I could probably file for disability, but I haven't done that. I don't want to. Do you have any advice on supplement therapies to work with psychosis? Are you currently having a psychosis, or um, are you? Is it like after psychosis? Because I can't really like recommend anything like officially because I'm not a doctor. So you have to like talk to a doctor about that. But what was helpful for me was psychosis. Okay, auditory hallucinations and disorganized thinking. I mean, I don't know. Like for me, it just took time. It took me a while to come down from my psychosis. Like I don't know if I'm qualified to like tell you what to do, um, to come down from something like that. But talking with somebody like having a counselor or something was really helpful for me. Um, and I mean, meditation for me sort of helped, but like meditation is such a vague term. It's really hard, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Like, cause I don't want to say something that's the problem with psychosis is it's so hard because like you're basically in an altered state. You're in a different place. And so it's hard to like, you have to like gradually sort of phase yourself out from that state. And it's hard to do. Sometimes it takes medication. Sometimes it just takes time. Um, it's hard. Um, but I'm sorry that you're going through that. What was the next question? What are your thoughts on psychedelics post psychosis? I'm in a virtual day. I'm in a virtual day hospital, and they told me anyway. Yeah, I mean anyone can get psychosis. Yeah, you don't know that you're gonna have psychosis until you have one. I would say post psychosis psychedelics. For me, it's a hard for me personally. After my psychosis, it's a hard no. Um, Yeah, it's a hard no for me because it's too much of a risk. Like it impacts so many people when I go through something like that. So if I go through a psychosis and I end up in the hospital and stuff like that, it's going to impact my family, my friends. It's going to impact my life. I'm probably going to lose my job most likely, or like not be able to work. And so I'm dependent on someone else. It's just a really big risk to take psychedelics after you've already had a psychosis. I don't think it's impossible to like not. I think it's possible to take psychedelics like after psychosis, possibly, but like the risk is really high. Like I'm not willing to just go for it. That's too much for me. Are you a fan of Psych Substance? Yeah, I think he's a great channel. I think what he's doing with his vision is really good of like helping people to sort of understand the risks, but also the benefits of psychedelics and sort of sharing his experiences. He hasn't had any experiences with psychosis though, so he doesn't really share those. I wish he could have shared that risk without as well to give a more full spectrum. But I think he does a really good job with sharing stuff about psychedelics and sort of educating people to make sure that they're staying safe about with those experiences. Um, Found any positive dimensions to my psychosis? Yeah, I mean, it's made me who I am today. It's sort of opened the door for me to understand that there's more. I don't know. I feel like it kind of opened me up in some ways to different um, possibilities in our world. Like the DMT experience was pretty intense. That wasn't like super intense, but it was like a different way of perceiving the world, and so it sort of opened things up. But psychosis is kind of like an initiation. It's like it breaks you down. You have to build yourself back up. But to me, it feels like it kind of opened up some channels, some possible awareness of things and stuff. Because I became very intuitive and very empathic and very knowledgeable about the stuff around me while I was in a psychotic state. I just wasn't able to like contain all that, and I sort of lost my marbles basically. I'm 26. Um, I know a guy stabbed his brother when he's psychotic and he still smoked weed and took psychedelics. He's just being stupid. Yeah, I would say that's being stupid. Um, that's not being very considerate of others, and it's not being very considerate towards yourself either. Um, Addiction is real. I used to smoke weed, but I don't get many cravings. Yeah, I mean, if you're in pain and you do something that makes you feel better, then you'll probably get addicted to that. I mean, there's so many different addictions that can happen. But the buddy didn't get psychosis again. He does have paranoid thoughts. Yeah, I mean, you never know. Like you never know if you're gonna have another psychosis again. But for me, it's just not worth the risk. Like as much as I'd love to have some of those experiences, like this is just one of my lives. I'm gonna have other experiences. I'm not worried about like get it fitting everything in this life. It's like I already had my DMT experience. Maybe down the path later on in my life I'll try something, but right now that's not even on my list to do. So I let her show let's stay away from marijuana products when I'm low, even though they aggravate my psychosis. Have you used any tools to stay away from weed, or does it not negatively affect you? I don't smoke weed. um, I tried CBD. Yeah, I used some CBD for a while, but it didn't really affect me. Like I didn't see that it really did much. I don't know as far as staying away from cannabis. I don't know what to do. Maybe consider talking to a therapist or something, or finding a program that helps with addiction to some degree. Yeah, looks like somebody recommended something. Smart Recovery. Yeah, it can be hard to kick something like that because that becomes kind of a crutch for support. And then when you're not feeling great, you kind of use it as support. But then, like you said, it aggravates psychosis. So maybe finding other coping strategies. But you'd have to talk to a professional about that. I I'm always like leery of giving people advice because this is bordering like on mental health counseling, which I'm not like a counselor, so I don't want to give people advice and then like, you know, have it come back on me, be like, he told me to do this, and then it's like, well, he's not a professional. So I just want everybody to know I'm not a medical professional, so don't listen to anything I say. I'm just sharing my own experiences. um, but yeah, does anybody have any more questions? Because the live stream's getting to like an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm getting a little tired, so I can ask like a couple more questions, but then I'm probably gonna close it off for tonight. But I appreciate you guys coming on and watching and asking me stuff. It's nice to talk with you guys. All right. Well, if I've got no more questions, okay. What is your rating of Fortnite? I only played Fortnite a little bit. I don't really play Fortnite. I don't play video games. Well, I play World of Warcraft a little bit, but that's it. You had two psychosis, and then the second one felt like a spiritual awakening until I got to the hospital. Yeah. Yeah, both of mine felt like a spiritual awakening. Is there anyone on YouTube I'd like to collab with? No, I haven't really. I mean, I'm sure eventually there's somebody that I would like to collab with, but I haven't really like searched for somebody that because I want to be able to like talk with them and get information. It would have to be somebody that I'd like want to meet in person and like learn from. And there's not really anybody that like I'd want to meet and learn from. Like I feel content just like watching their videos. So I don't feel like there's anybody that I necessarily would like to, hang out with. And would I ever want 110,000 subscribers? I don't know. I mean, if that happens, that's cool. But if it doesn't, that's cool too. I'm not really in it for the subscribers. I'm just kind of like making videos, just because like it's fun for me, and I feel like it might help people with me like sharing my life with people, so they know they're not alone and that everybody sort of goes through things, and just sharing my insights into stuff. But yeah, both my psychoses felt like spiritual awakenings at some point during them because of my perceptions and intuition was kind of heightened. So I think that's pretty normal. There's Joseph Campbell said that the psychic swims in what the psychotic drowns in, basically saying that like did I say the mystic? Yeah, the mystic swims in what the psychotic drowns in. So it's kind of like the space between realms, so to speak, and the access to a lot of knowledge. My favorite video games, World of Warcraft was my high school sweetheart, and I still play a little bit. Yeah, I got hypersensitivity from it. I could like I was, especially the second one, I was like talking with my parents, and I could like basically sense what they were going to say before they were going to say it. I was very intuitive, so I could kind of sense what was happening, and I sort of facilitated the conversation with them. The second one was a lot about love. The first one was a lot about love and fear and like the war between them. The second one was a lot about love, but there was also some scary parts in the second one too. How do you feel about life being a simulation? I don't think anything is a simulation. I think it's all real. I think that like we're essences, or we're souls or spirits or whatever you want to call, to that just go through all kinds of experiences, not just human experiences, but it's all real. If you're experiencing it, it's real to you. That's a subjective experience, but it's still something that's real to you. Like if you watch somebody like trip or something like that, they might be on the floor with their eyes closed, but they're going through something, they're experiencing something. Doesn't mean that's not real for them. So you could say everything is a simulation or nothing is a simulation. Who knows? Why don't you feel ready to start full-time work? Because I'm kind of scared to do that because of stress. The last time I had full-time work was before my second psychosis, and I don't want to put that. I think part of that pressure that I had on me led me to smoke pot, and then sort of go into a second psychosis. So I think I might be a little bit scared to have that much pressure on me again. So I'm kind of easing into it. I'm considering going full time at my job right now at Home Depot, but we'll see how it goes. Did you feel your right and left sides of your brain connect? I don't know. I don't know what that feels like, but I felt like everything was like more vibrant and alive. Like it felt like a more intense reality than like the reality I live in right now. It was like hyper energized, more vibrant. But yeah. Yeah, so I talked to my parents about weed and psychedelics before psychosis, and they were like interested in, because I was like fascinated by them. I was like looking at a lot of trip reports and like watching a lot of reading a lot about weed and the potential benefits and psychosis or psychedelics and stuff. And then once I actually went through the psychosis, they're like, okay, like we're not doing those anymore. Like they're bad, you know. Like they kind of understood. They were a little bit scared about psychedelics, but they like understood the pot because like it was helping me feel better. But then once all this happened, they're like, no, 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 we're stopping this. Do you mention that you went though? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, if it comes up in if it comes up in conversation like normally, like it's not forced, I'll tell people. Like I'm not ashamed that I went through it. I think it's important for people to be able to share. Sometimes I feel like I do overshare though, because I'm pretty comfortable. Like I share all this on my YouTube channel, so like I'm used to just being like, hey, like yeah, that happened to me. If it like naturally comes up in conversation, then I'll say it. But if it's something that would I feel like it would be weird to share it in, or it would be kind of awkward to do so, then I don't. Like people are interested in, because people sometimes want to share their experiences with the stuff, and if you open up and say like, hey, like I've been through some hard stuff too, then I feel like they're more open. They're more willing to open up as well. So it's kind of nice um, to be open and honest with people. But you have to read the room and feel it out. So it's at work, it's probably not best to share it, but eventually at work it's okay. Like at my other workplace, it was okay. There's a lot of people that were struggling with different things, so I think it was with some specific people I would share it with them. But thanks, Tao, um, for wishing me good luck, and thanks for watching my videos. I appreciate you guys supporting me. It means a lot to me when it makes a difference in people's lives. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and um, hanging out with me. It's nice. Do you have any books you enjoyed reading? Yeah, I read a lot of books in high school. I was like obsessed with spirituality. I was like binging books. Like I read Eckhart Tolle or the Bhagavad Gita. What else did I read? I read some books about Buddhism. Um, read Joseph Campbell. Read what else did I read? I read some things about shamanism. What was his name? Castaneda. Yeah, Castaneda. Carlos Castaneda. I read him. Recently, I've been reading a book. I'm still working on this book. I made a video about it a while ago, but I'm still reading Dancing Dream. Levels of like consciousness that you're reaching, and I haven't really like reached these states of consciousness, so I don't really like connect with the text because like I don't connect with what it's saying because I haven't gotten there yet. But I'll probably read it again at some point. I'll keep going. This is like kind of the high end of mysticism, I guess. And I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. But it's a good book. I would recommend it. It basically talks about the initiation process, the spiritual path that kind of every human goes through, according to her, throughout their life. Any advice on starting a channel? I've been thinking about starting making videos about psychedelics and emotional health. I don't have a camera or anything besides my phone. You can make videos on your phone, dude. Like, just start making videos and then post them. You know, you don't need an editing software or anything like that at the beginning. You can just set up the camera, just start talking to it, and then upload the videos. You know, it takes a little while to get viewers, but you know, if you're passionate, it shouldn't be about the viewers, honestly. Like, if you're passionate about what you're doing and you enjoy making the videos, then it's cool. And if you want to upgrade, then you can get a camera and stuff like that. Like, I have a webcam that I make some of my videos on, and then I have this this little apparatus here that I ended up buying. But this, you don't need something like this. Like, I started on a little Canon that was like, I bought it on Craigslist for like $30, and I just made videos with that. So I mean, you probably, if you look at my, do I like anime? No, I'm not a huge fan. But yeah, if you're starting to do a channel, just do it. You know, like, just create an account on YouTube and then just start making videos. It's not super hard. But yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of anime. I'm not. I just never got into it. One of my girlfriends trying to get me into it, but I didn't really, I didn't bite it. So I don't know. I enjoy it. Like, if somebody, like, if one of my friends like, hey, let's like watch something, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna watch it. It's anime. But if I start getting that interested, I'll just like get up and leave or whatever. But um, I'm not like against it necessarily, but I'm not for it either. So, but good luck on your channel, Jackrabbit. Let me know if you get started. I'll check it out. No, I don't think starting a channel during recovery is a bad idea at all. I think one of my subscribers actually has a channel that he talks about his experiences and stuff like that. Let me look him up real quick, because he talks about sort of his experiences with things, and I think it's really helpful for him to be able to talk about what's happening to him, because then you get feedback and you realize you're not alone, and it's inspirational for other people too. Because I mean, that's kind of what I did. You know, when I shared some of my stuff, it was hard for me to share. You know, I was kind of depressed for a long time. If you look back at some of my earlier videos, I was pretty freaking depressed. But it was helpful for me to share with people and just get it off my chest. You know. Let's see, what's his name? Sean Phillips or Sean Phelps. I'll type it in here. I hope he's okay with me promoting his channel. But he is somebody who, you know, went through a psychosis and is sharing his experience with people, you know, and that's pretty inspirational. Like, I admire him for that. And then it inspires other people who have gone through their experiences to share as well, and then it starts to raise more awareness. So I think it's a great thing to do. That's just my opinion, you know. Just know that some people will leave comments that aren't so nice too. So, but you just have to, you know, take what you need from whatever people say, and just, you know, work with it. But well, I appreciate you guys tuning in. It was a good turnout. I didn't know how many people were going to show up. I was just going to start talking about stuff and then see what happened. But what kind of bad comments did I get? Nothing really bad. Just like for my DMT video, there was a guy that said, like, you know, I approve of like drugging people with psychedelics. I'm just like, that's pretty ignorant. You know, I responded back. I was like, hey, like, I appreciate your opinion, but like, you know, these are like pretty intense substances. Or like, you really wanted to start a channel since years ago. Yeah, just do it, man. Like, it's not gonna hurt you. You know, if you're afraid of anonymity, then just make a channel name so people can't like Google search it and find you. You know, if you're worried about like employers finding your YouTube profile or something, that's why I had my channel name as Informal Inquiry, because I was sharing personal information, and I thought it would be better to have sort of a different name than, um, I don't want people just like looking me up that know me. Like, I don't really tell people I have a YouTube channel unless they ask me or it comes up regularly in conversation, because I just it's like my deep secrets are on my YouTube channel. So, but yeah, just do it, man. It's nice. It's fun to do, and don't expect a bunch of people to watch it at first. It takes takes a while. I've been doing YouTube for like 2.5 years now, and like I just now have like 590 subscribers, and I'm grateful for all of them. But that's not what I'm doing it for. But just know that like the people that do watch your videos and do comment, like you're impacting their lives, and that's like we have to think about when you're making videos. But don't forget, it's at the end of the day, it's about like if you like to do it or not. So just make videos that you like to make. My favorite stand-up comedy, I don't know. I don't really watch stand-up. I'm gonna be honest. I know how to grow an Instagram account to pull the vids. Okay, cool, nice. Well, you're one step ahead of me. I don't post on my Instagram enough to get followers like that. So, but yeah, yeah. I post like maybe once a week on Instagram. I tried to post regularly, and I'm like, nah, it's not my thing. But I have some pictures I need to post. I took some when I was on a walk with my girlfriend the other day, so maybe I'll post those. All right. Well, it's been an hour and 40 minutes. Don't worry, I'll have more live streams in the future. I'll probably let you guys know when I'll be having them, like in the videos that I make. So then um, people will be able to tune in, or I might just do them spontaneously. I'm not sure yet. Depends kind of how I'm feeling. But I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys like asking me questions. I love um, having a community on here. It's really cool. So I appreciate you guys coming in, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening, mornings, or middays, depending on what place in the world you're in. So, all right, guys, as always, make sure to seek your truth and to take time for yourself. All right, bye, guys.